What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Nintendo Land, and it is Nintendo Direct time. We are getting a Nintendo Direct tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern time, which is 2 p.m. Pacific, and it's going to be 40 minutes, roughly focusing on the first half of the year, which means we'll probably also get stuff for the second half as well. But yeah, lots of stuff in here. I am super excited. 40 minutes is always a lot of time to discuss tons of Nintendo goodies, and we are sure to have a lot of interesting stuff to talk about here. But of course, today I want to give you guys my most accurate predictions as to what to expect from this thing. So I'm going to go from the start of the show all the way to the end of the show and kind of give you my step-by-step exactly what's going to happen and what's going to be announced. And even for the announcements, I'm going in extremely in-depth as well, giving very specific details. And then at the very end, I'll add just any other crazy predictions we have left and just throw them all together. But let's jump into it right away. Nintendo comes out swinging right away with a brand new 2D Mario game. It has a new art style and wacky worlds that don't follow the same trope that we're used to. There will be vehicles and background elements, interactions, and just all kinds of stuff, but mostly filled with returning enemies and little new ones, which will make people a little upset, but it's enemies we haven't seen in a 2D Mario game yet. Mario has a diverse moveset, which allows him to dive and roll in a 3D space and do things that he normally could not do. But the engine takes a lot of inspiration from the Mario Maker 2 Mario 3D World theme, where the game utilizes lots of background elements, and it kind of goes back and forth between the background and the foreground and has a big connection there, where the world kind of feels 2.5D. There are collectibles again for each level, but they're not star coins. There'll be something new, and there will be time trials to beat each level quicker and online leaderboards. The levels also have a bit more of an exploration focus to them this time around instead of just purely platforming, which means you can explore them and find secret hidden details and other collectibles, and it will be the big holiday game. If we get a date somehow, I'm saying it will be the big September game. Now, I think there's a good chance that this game could also be a 3D Mario game, or maybe even that rumored Donkey Kong game. I think both of those would be great options, and I think all three of those together, that's some crazy things to look forward to. I mean, a brand new Mario 2D/3D or a Donkey Kong game, 2D/3D as well, I guess. That would be really cool, so we're just going to have to wait and see what it's going to be. Next up, we have some of our smaller filler game announcements, and I think this is where we're going to get information on Bayonetta Origins, because the game, I believe, comes out next month, which is also going to confirm we'll probably get more information on Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe, kind of showing off more information about the game. There's been rumors and kind of leaks I actually seen of there being a Magolor side mode, like Magolor's epilogue, so maybe they want to show a little bit of that and some extra game modes that could be in the game, and maybe just giving us another big trailer, because we really haven't gotten that second trailer yet, just lots of little details posted on the website and on the Japanese website, so I think it's time that we see a little bit more of that game as well. Now we know there's 3 more waves of Fire Emblem Engage DLC, and I'm sure Nintendo will begin to talk about the next wave. Now, I know the game just dropped in January, so there's a chance that it might not show up, but I feel like this is a small segment that they might focus on and kind of talk about some extra stuff to look forward to in the future for this game. What is a Nintendo Direct without Fire Emblem or Xenoblade? Not a Nintendo Direct, exactly. So we can definitely expect one of these games to be here, and if any of them are going to be here this time, it's got to be Fire Emblem Engage's DLC, because there's really nothing else I can think about, at least for Xenoblade and Fire Emblem to appear here. Advance Wars gets shown off and finally gets a release date for March. We get to know a little bit more about the game, and I think March is a perfect date, just a month after the show, get people excited about the game again and release it very soon as well. I think this would be, just kind of make a lot of sense to hurry up and get this game out and over with before something else happens around the world or something. But yeah, I think this is a definite safe bet, especially since we know that release dates have popped up from online catalogs for Tears of the Kingdom and also Advance Wars, so this is definitely a shoe-in. Next up, we get our next big kind of smaller game, which is Mario Baseball coming this summer. It's announced and it looks really cool, but you can tell instantly, unfortunately, it doesn't have the flair as the other games in the series. It's made by Bandai Namco again, and the diamonds are bland and based off of basic themes like desert and ice, what you're used to. The roster has tons of smaller Mario characters with a couple of cool surprises, but mostly going to be filled with basic Mario enemies, and it's not going to look as dynamic as the Super Sluggers roster, which had other Donkey Kong characters as well. which is going to suck. There are new advanced moves that the players can perform, just like in Super Sluggers, throwing each other off each other and like jumping up to grabbing home runs before they go over the fence and stuff like that, and like kicking the ball to other teammates. But this time, like, you have more dive options and rolls, and it's just a lot more easier to move around the diamond. But the new characters will be Pauline, Boom Boom, of course, Pom Pom, and the Koopalings. I think Boom Boom will probably just be, you know, set to automatic catcher, knowing Nintendo, where you can't choose your catcher. It will just be Boom Boom or Pom Pom or something like that. But you can also have the Koopalings, which is going to actually be a cool game to see the Koopalings in, and this is launching in June. There will also be some extra characters. You know, Pauline will have a special attack where she uses the microphone, because this is Nintendo, but a lot of the characters will be Bowserlings or Bowser enemies, really, such as Goombas, Koopa Troopas, stuff like that, which is going to be expected. Next, we'll get some information about Splatoon 3's next season, because we are just, I think, 3 weeks away from the spring season now, after the chill season, and we're going to get 3 new weapons and also 2 new maps, and one of those maps is going to be that desert map that we got a glimpse of so far, and one of the returning ones from past games. The weapons will be a new Stringer that shoots one powerful arrow very far and slow, and with a big blast radius but with a very slow reload, and a new Splatana that has a very strong up close attack. It's very heavy and very big compared to what we normally have. I would love to see like a baseball bat themed Splatana, or maybe even like a pool noodle one. And then we might just get a weapon in any other class, maybe like another dualies, or just a regular shooter, or maybe even a blaster. I'm not completely sure yet what's next, but those are the, you know, classes that we really haven't gotten anything new in yet. So definitely Splatana and Stringer for sure. But if they're going to talk about the season, they'll also probably touch on the big wave of DLC coming this summer, which is all story-based, it seems like, so that's going to be very informing. I don't think it's going to be a lot if it is a trailer. It's just going to be enough to show us a little tidbit as to what to expect, like maybe the name of the DLC and the theme around it. So that would be really cool. That will be releasing in July of this year, which would place Mario Baseball in June. So that's a good little start so far, but we'll get to the middle of the show now, where we get the big game in the middle of the Direct, and that's going to be Pikmin 4, where it has a small segment dedicated to the game, where it just talks about what to expect from this game, and once again, it'll act like no one has ever seen Pikmin. It'll be like, okay, this is the red Pikmin, and this is the blue one, and it'll just go through every single Pikmin type and the basic things that the captains can do, and there will be 2 new Pikmin, however, but they'll show one of them for right now. It'll be like an ice Pikmin or something that will take on ice enemies and can go into ice areas, and yeah, that just seems like something Nintendo would do. The captains will have more control this time around, allowing them to actually do different things besides just throw Pikmin, like for instance, maybe even drive vehicles around. We'll also get to see that new camera view, which will like kind of make the world more immersive instead of just looking at everything from the top-down view. The game's locations this time around is based more on the real world and areas that were destroyed from whatever happened in this earthly apocalypse, and it will start to build lore about what happened, which will be really cool. And lots of the level themes will be like underground bunkers and maybe even homes and houses of who used to live here, who's just pretty much in ruins now. This game's release date is a little weird to me, because I feel like there is a chance that we could see it a little earlier than we expect, but then looking at everything we have coming up, I'm going to say it's coming out in the fall, so around August/September. If it is September, that will push the 2D Mario game back to October. So I'm going back. I'm saying that the Mario game is coming out in October and Pikmin in September. Moving on to the second half of the Direct, we'll once again move on to some smaller filler announcements, maybe a couple of third-party games, and then we'll move on to more DLC talk. We'll have Mario & Rabbids Sparks of Hope DLC, like the Tower of Doom showed off, and maybe a little bit of Wave 2, and then there will once again be followed by more filler. I think the second half is just going to be getting out smaller announcements and stuff, and then finally building up for a big ending, which we'll get to in a second. But then we'll move on to Mario Kart 8 DLC, teasing Wave 4. Now, we may or may not see the entire wave. They could just show off 2 tracks like they did before, and just kind of give us something to look forward to. This will probably release in April, so there's a chance we could see the entire wave, who knows. But we'll definitely see something Mario Kart 8 Deluxe related for sure here. And then I think that's generally what we get in this show. There will be a couple more smaller announcements and stuff like that, and maybe an extra little small game, and we'll get to that once again at the end of this whole video when I give you some extra stuff. But I think that's going to be pretty much it until the big finish, and the big finish is going to be a huge Tears of the Kingdom trailer and possibly even a small segment at the end. I could see them literally shelving 10 minutes for Tears of the Kingdom at the end of this direct, just to really finally dive into it and not just end it on a single trailer. Who knows? Maybe they just want to give us a trailer again and then maybe, you know, dive a little deeper into it, you know, with a own separate direct. But yeah. But what I'm saying is a possible announcement of an April Zelda Tears of the Kingdom specific direct could happen here. It makes sense. It might be too early for the announcement of the direct, however, so we might just get the trailer. But the trailer will show a very slow start, telling some of the story and touching on Ganondorf and his story and the world and the lore and everything that's happened since Breath of the Wild, similar to the Switch event trailer for the first game. It will then show Link jumping from an island to island and doing puzzles and giant buildings on those islands, and it looks pretty cool. You know, it even shows him running over the overworld that we've already seen, and just like, okay, that looks cool and all. But then the music builds up and we see Link skydiving, but the scene changes, and then he falls through the ground and he falls down into a whole new world. It's the Dark World. It's an entirely new map underneath the map that we know and love, and it's a lot of locations that look familiar, but they are changed drastically in this new world. It shows aerial combat with tons of like bow and arrow in the air mechanics and fighting with his sword in the air. Tons of new enemies and big bosses that are also very creepy in this game. This game looks great and everyone is super excited, and any worries that anyone's had about this game is out the window. This game looks amazing. Now that's my general direct predictions. I think that's what we can expect. A big start with a brand new game. The middle of the direct talking about Pikmin, and the end of the direct talking about Zelda, I think is more than enough, with some smaller cool announcements thrown in there such as Mario Baseball. I think that's going to be enough, but there's still probably room for some crazy extra surprises in there that we haven't even talked about. And I have about 5 or 6 crazy surprise announcements that could probably never happen, but it might happen, who knows, so I'm just throwing them out there. Number 1, Kid Icarus Uprising gets that HD port that we hear rumored that Bandai Namco apparently was working on this whole time. It's a port to the Switch. It looks amazing. It has all the features that it did in the 3DS, even the online mode. It looks amazing. Finally, Kid Icarus is back, and it's going to sell so well, and it's finally going to establish Kid Icarus as its own franchise now in the new era, I guess. Okay, Metroid Prime Trilogy HD or Metroid Prime HD. Yes, it's in my crazy extra surprises, because at this point it's just going to be crazy if this thing is even real. So if that happens, great. Luigi's Mansion 4 early announcement. Yeah, we're already getting this game announced for later this year. At the end of this year, it will be 4 years, so this very well could happen. 4 years for Luigi's Mansion 4. I'm calling it. Mario & Luigi is still alive, and a new game is coming. Yes, Nintendo bought out Alpha Dream, and now they are continuing to make Mario & Luigi games, and this one is super ambitious and super big, and so many things to do in this game. It's going to look amazing. Brand new world, brand new enemies. It's finally back to its original state like it should be after Paper Jam, and Mario & Luigi is back, baby. New Star Fox game is coming. That probably not. Okay, listen, I'm being honest, probably not. But look, I had to bring it up. New Star Fox game, it probably looks exactly the same as Star Fox 0 and 64. It just feels new. But Star Fox is here, and people are excited to finally see Star Fox on Switch. And it has never been Mario Baseball this whole time. Yep, that Mario Sports game is not Mario Baseball, it's Mario Basketball, or better yet, it's Mario Football, baby. We've never seen it, and it's gonna happen. You know what? I'm feeling pretty good, so I'll give you another one. The same way we had a 2D Kirby game and then a 3D one, we're having a 3D Yoshi game after Crafted World. It's gonna look like Crafted World and feel like Woolly World, but it's in 3D. All this felt and all the cute arts and craft stuff is here that Yoshi's known for now, but now it's in a really cool 3D platformer, very similar to Kirby in the Forgotten Land, and it looks so good, and everybody's gonna love it, and Kirby and Yoshi are gonna be huge new 3D platformer mascots for Nintendo, and it's going to be fantastic. Whew. Okay. That's all I have now. I think I got out everything I needed. My crazy predictions, my actual list, everything is now here. So there shouldn't be many questions what to expect, because I think we can expect an onslaught of stuff, or it can be very little. Who knows? It's up to Nintendo to surprise us and give us some really interesting things, but I'm very excited nevertheless. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think and how you guys feel about this upcoming Nintendo Direct. What games do you think is going to be in there that I missed, and what are you excited about the most? Personally, I am just extremely excited to see what the heck Tears of the Kingdom is about, honestly. As far as new titles, I will take whatever, honestly. I really do hope it's Mario, but my hope has dwindled so far for the plumber. Who knows at this point? But I'm just really hoping that Tears of the Kingdom has a big surprise in store for us, and I can't wait to see what that is. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe to stay up to date on all things Nintendo, and we will probably be streaming the whole presentation tomorrow, so make sure you're here to join us. But I will see you guys on the next one, and thank you guys for tuning in. See you guys.